Hello and welcome. My name is Portia Monique, and today we are speaking with the duo Troy and Rashad of Earn Your Leisure. Now, if you guys don't know who they are, you have to have been sitting under a rock because they are two of the hottest things out when it comes to financial literacy, education, and all of that. They have a conference coming up in the third week of August, and we are here to talk to them all about it. Welcome to the show, Troy and Rashad.
Hey, thank you for having us.
I love it. Thank you for being here. So tell us all about your conference. We were briefly talking backstage about how you launched it in Atlanta because that's the mecca of Black business, Black culture, all of that. But briefly, walk us through how you got from year one to this year right now.
InvestFest is I think it's the pinnacle of business festivals and business conferences, not just here in America, but in the world. We decided that we've done a lot of things inside of the media space and having a lot of events was the next course of action. So in 2021, Shadi said, I had an idea. I have an idea. People like to go to festivals, they like to go to conferences, but nobody's ever blended those two things together. And so we had the idea for InvestFest and launched it in 2021. And the idea was to bring or merge culture and commerce. Nobody had done it and nobody spoke the language we did. And so we were sitting in a unique spot and took advantage of it. We had built our community and the build up to have something in that space was there. And so we wanted to make sure that this festival was something that combined entertainment but combined learning, right? And so we talk
Mhm.
about the things that are happening in our economy, whether it's cryptocurrency, real estate, taxes, all these things that are prevalent in our lives. Nobody had brought those to the main stage and celebrated them. And so we had a unique opportunity to do that. On top of it, we wanted to give new entrepreneurs and businesses an opportunity to showcase what they have. And so we created a marketplace inside of InvestFest that highlights now over 400 businesses. And so you have a lot of patrons that come and a lot of people that make their years during the weekend. And so it's an event unlike anything that has ever been created. It's this year we started on Friday, so it's a 3-day event. So August 22nd to through the 24th, and we see anywhere between 40 to 50,000 people throughout the course of the weekend. So it's unique in that sense. You have people who are like-minded, people who look like you, people who are willing to want to change their lives, all coming together throughout the course of the weekend. They're seeing their favorite celebrities, they're seeing their favorite people in business, and so yeah, we're super proud to be founders of it, but be even more so, we're super proud to see it for everybody to come see it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this is easily the largest financial literacy festival in the country, drawing over 50,000 people annually, millions of followers on the New York Times bestselling book, NAACP Image Award nominations. Troy and Rashad, his partner, of course, you guys are reshaping the conversation about money, ownership, and culture. Also, I know that was a lot, right? Also, this
Appreciate it.
movement has grown into a global movement. What was the moment that you both realized it was more than just a podcast? Troy, we'll start with you and then we'll go with Rashad.
I think it was early on. Rashada had been, creating content around financial literacy and financial education in the space, and people were gravitating toward it. And so they kind of actually forced us into having a media space. They were looking for the podcast where they can get more information. And so we started shooting those episodes early 2019. And right away, people gravitated toward it. They had nobody talking about finance, and especially guys that look like us weren't talking about it. And so when we start to see the feedback that we were getting from the episodes, we realized, all right, this is something bigger than just the financial education. This is something that we can spread on a global standpoint because when we looked at our analytics, people were listening in South Africa, and people were listening in Kuwait, and people were listening in Tokyo. And we were like, this is a message that translate not just where we live, but across the globe because finances are something that translate across the globe and business is something that translates across the globe, but the education around it isn't something that is. And so where there was a weak spot, we found a place to create. And that moment, it rears itself now and then, right? Like it's like, hey, you move from one thing, you create the next, right? We went from creating a show to creating networking events to creating InvestFest to having a New York Times bestseller to creating curriculum around financial education to spreading that across the globe. I know a lot of people that see us on the continent. It's pretty impressive, and like I said, we're very fortunate to be in a position to head the space.
Yeah, yeah. And Rashad, what about you? What was the moment that you realized that it was more than just a podcast?
I think when we first did our first event, it was the networking event in LA. And for us coming from New York to be able to do something in LA and to have like 100 people in like a 24-hour rollout period, we just put a flyer
Mm.
on Instagram. That was something that was like, all right, this is something that's bigger than just online.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you guys make the perfect duo, right? So Troy, you're a former educator. Rashad is a financial advisor and entrepreneur. You guys both fuse together to create this movement that blends business with knowledge. How has your childhood friendship and individual career paths shaped your dynamic as co-founders? Troy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, very interesting. When you think about it, right? Like it's just how sometimes when you walk into purpose, these things happen, right? Like
Yeah.
my path was education, his was always in entrepreneurship and finance. We had been best friends since like middle school. And if there's anybody in the world that I know him. And so I know his strengths, I know his weaknesses, and that's just in friendship and brotherhood. But it also, shows itself inside of business as well, right? I know he's kind of laid back and reserved in public. I know when people see him online, they're like, "Wait, who's this guy?" Like the complete opposite. The other day, they said you guys are the perfect yin and yang, and it kind of
Mhm.
fits, right? So I know where he's weak, I got to be strong, and vice versa. And there's a certain level of trust that we have with each other, and a certain level of respect that we have for each other, and that goes beyond business. But again, it translates in business as well. So if you have those core characteristics from a brotherhood standpoint, there's nothing that we can't do together. I think our work ethic is pretty evident, our respect for each other, and our due diligence to the mission, right? We
Yeah.
understand what we're here to do, and we understand there's not going to be a distraction that's going to stop us from doing that. So it's myself and Rashad, but we also have our partner Mike, who we grew up with as well, who we created this brand and this global mission that we've been on. It helps that you've known your whole life you can do it with, because there's a certain level of loyalty and trust that you have to
Mhm.
have to succeed.
Yeah, yeah. And what about you, Rashad?
Yeah, I think everything that he said, as far as just being able to have communication without speaking, that just goes to just knowing somebody and growing up with somebody, something that you really can't replicate. But just always understanding that there's more work to do
Yeah.
and never being complacent. I think that helps the mission, helps the partnership.
Well, I love that you guys have been lifelong friends and now you're friends in business as well. And that is my ultimate goal of success, right? To be able to do business with your friends and, write off your trips, right? And
Company
have
expense.
fun. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we get to the actual conference, because the conference is coming up next weekend, actually, you said that the name Earn Your Leisure has a deeper meaning. Can you break down what that represents to you, Troy? We'll start with you.
Yeah, so Earn Your Leisure originally started as a hashtag for Rashad. Back when hashtags meant something on Instagram, early in the 2010s, around that time, and it was something that it was unique. It was ours, and so when we were trying to come up with a name for the podcast,
Mhm.
it's the one that stuck because again, it was created, and at the time, it meant, hey, we come from New York, right? But we're not. We were born, weren't raised in the city, and so when people don't come from the city, they think that you're silver spoon kids if you grew up outside the city. So
Mhm.
we've had hardships, we've had trials and tribulation, and we overcame those things. But what people never saw was the hard work, right? Like they never saw
Right.
him waking up at 4 a.m. when he was pursuing a career in basketball. They never saw him, studying 7 to 10 days, not leaving his house for his Series 7. They never saw me going to school on Saturdays and working 3 jobs just so I can pay for college. They never saw those things, but they did see us go on vacation. They did see us have nice cars. They saw us throw nice parties.
Yeah.
So they've assumed that, hey, these guys must have it. And my thing was like everything that we have at the time, it wasn't much, but it felt that way, was earned. Right.
Mhm.
So we earned those freedoms, we earned some of those luxuries, and we earned the time that it took to do those things. And so Earn Your Leisure became the idea like, wait, if people realized that everything they had received, they had to work and earn, it would just change the trajectory of how we thought about life. And so it's interesting to see everybody put their spin on it now because it means something different to every person, right? Like I love talking to people and saying, well, what does the name mean to you? And when I hear their interpretation of it, I'm like, yep, that's exactly what it means.
Yeah. 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 Rashad, earn yours a deeper meaning. Can you break it down what that represents to you as well?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of never settling, really. Like, a lot of times on Instagram, people see the highlights. Like they see vacations and they see cars and a house. And that leads to like a level of you want to skip the steps, you want to skip the process. So nobody really ever shows what it takes to get all that stuff. So that's
Right.
for me, that's the most important part of it. It's like you have to earn all your luxury.
You have to earn your leisure. No pun.
Everything earned. Everything earned. Everything earned.
Now, in Best Fest, huge, like a movement. This year's speakers, you got Magic Johnson, like he's staple in our culture and our community. You got Steve Harvey, you got Issa Rae. You have some heavy hitters for your conference. I think in years past you had Robert F. Smith. So you guys are consistently showing up, showing out, and representing for the culture. Number one, what inspired you to create Invest Fest and how has it evolved since year one? Rashad.
Yeah, what inspired it was just seeing an opportunity in the space where those conferences and symposiums, but nothing like in the way that we do it as far as adding the entertainment aspect of it. So we just thought that we wanted to do something grand, something that was like going to be remembered for 50 years. So that was the original idea behind the investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and that was by this adage, like you got to put the medicine in the candy. And so we know
hmm,
we over-index in entertainment. We know we over-index in sports, but we don't over-index in education. Even if you look at the statistics of who's educating our children, it doesn't, they don't look like us.
hmm,
And so we understood that if we put the most prominent people in entertainment and business together, what would that look like? And when
yeah.
they got there, right, last year our headliner was 50 Cent. But we weren't talking about his music career, right? We
Hmm.
were talking about his business endeavors because those are going to outlive perhaps some of the things he's done in music. And you can kind of see that it is already when you talk about the empire that he's built.
Yeah.
Robert F. Smith is somebody, that again, at the time was the wealthiest black man in America, but a lot of our audience wasn't familiar with what he did or how he got to that point. Tyler
Right.
Perry was at our event as well, and we're talking about business, right? Like the movies are great, the characters are great, but the business behind it. So we wanted to mix those two things together for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's inspiring, right? But it's also
Hmm.
inspirational. If we can see people that look like us thrive at that level, then the opportunity is there. Like what
Yeah.
separates him from us, and that's what we want to do. Take a deep dive into those areas, but also take it from people from all cultures. We had Dan Cathy, the former CEO of Chick-fil-A, inside there, right? It's a place that we frequent all the time. How did he build his legacy? And then we had things that were important, right? Your taxes, your real estate broker, all these things that are prevalent in everyday life. How do we get information so that we can make sure that we build not only, I know people will say generational, but we like to say sustainable wealth.
Sustainable well. Hashtag. Right. Now, you spoke of some heavy hitters in our community and our culture. Everyone knows who they are. Which conversation left the deepest mark on you personally? And Troy, I'll start with you.
Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot. I think that the Tyler Perry moment a few years ago was very timely when he talked about the evolution of success and how, as you climb this mountain, be mindful of who's going up that mountain with you. Because if you bring your, people too high up, you'll suffocate them, right?
Yeah.
And you'll actually do them a disservice. And at the time, there was stuff going on personally, and we're like, oh my gosh, like that moment stuck. Like I might be doing a disservice to some of my peers for trying to bring them along on this ride and not understanding their skill set. And when he said it, it was like, wow, okay, we just got to change the approach of how we're doing things. So that one stuck out. There's so many though, but that one always was like, okay, don't
Yeah.
bring them up here. The air is thin, right?
Yeah.
You were meant to breathe up here, but maybe everybody isn't.
I love that. I love Ty Perry. He really hits the mark all time. Rashad, what about you? Which conversation has left the deepest mark possible for you personally?
Robert Smith, that was something that, you know, for me personally, I had studied him for a long time. Actually wrote about him before we even had Leisure. So to have somebody of that caliber to talk to, and then also he actually gave us advice. So that was something that was memorable.
What advice did he give you?
To always scale, like think
Okay.
about scaling,
Hmm.
never to like always look at the bigger picture, right? So if you're doing 10,000 people, How do you scale to 20,000? If you got 10,000 people watching your show, how do you scale to 20,000? So he's real big on like having systems in place and a mindset that's always built on how to scale without having to do more work.
Okay. Billionaire advice. Hashtag that's another. I love it.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
So as we are ramping this interview down, we do know that August is Small Business Month. If you guys could each leave one lasting message with our readers, our listeners, all of that during Small Business Month, what would it be?
I tell all entrepreneurs, I think you need to lead with value. If you lead with value, you can build community. If you lead with value and build community, you can build product. And if you can build product, money will come from that, right?
Mm.
Most people start backwards. They think, how can I make money? Oh, I'll build a community, right? And so having that pathway is super important, right? 'Cause when you build value, you become part of a routine for people, especially in media, right? Like we become a routine if we're consistent, right? Every Monday they're going to watch our show. Every Tuesday they're going to watch our show. They watch it long enough, we build community. They watch it long enough, we can build community. We can have a product. Then money would be a byproduct of it. And so I tell people all the time, lead with value.
And what about you, Rashad? If you could leave one lasting message with our audience, what would it be?
You're only as good as the people that work for you. So you got to value your employees. You can't be scared to spend money on employees. Human capital, and artificial intelligence is taking over for human capital is still needed.
I love that. Value your employees and then lead with value as well, as what Troy said. Last question for you both. When you're not talking business or finance, what is your guilty pleasure that might surprise people? Troy.
My guilty pleasure. Well, the crazy part is that most of the times we don't speak finance. We're talking music, we're talking sports, we're talking hip hop. Where my guilty pleasure though is probably playing video games. I don't think people they when they think of me, they don't think of that. But
You
I was a
don't?
huge yeah, I was a huge video game kid. Even to this day, I'm teaching my son how to read defenses and study coverage in video games. And so yeah, I love playing video games if I have time. I haven't had much time, but I do enjoy it.
What's your favorite video game?
Madden. I'm a
Madden.
Madden guy. Yeah, the new one just dropped yesterday. I'm looking forward to that.
I got to get up to speed on that one.
Yeah,
Okay, and
yeah.
Rashad, what about you? When you are not talking business or finance, what's your guilty pleasure that might surprise people?
I don't really have a guilty pleasure too much. I like to just travel and do different things, but as far as like a guilty pleasure, I don't think I really have one. Honestly.
Okay. I mean,
I,
do
I
you
I can confirm.
Well, thank you for that confirmation, Troy. We definitely appreciate it. I don't think travel is anything guilty about it. It's definitely cultural, it's definitely educational, it's definitely needed. So if that's a pleasure, it's not a guilty one. So I get that as well. So Troy and Rashad, please plug your conference for next week. Let us know. Are there still tickets? Can people still attend? How do they find out more information?
Absolutely. People can definitely still attend. They can go to investfest.com. Like you said, the conference is a week away, man. August 22nd through the 24th, Atlanta, Georgia. There is no conference like it. There's no festival like it. It is where culture and commerce will meet. And it's the yearly event. I tell people that's how you should book in your year. Every year you go to this and you get all the information and you start your calendar year, right? Because there's going to be so much networking, so many business ideas, potential business partnerships that can be created. It's so unique, and we're very, very fortunate to have it and happy that it's in Atlanta. So yeah, go to investors.com, get your tickets. It's still available, and hopefully we see you there.
Yeah, yeah. And what are your projections this year in terms of attendees?
Ooh, I think I think fall in that ballpark, 40 to 50,000. But
Okay.
based on some of the reception from the lineup, we might set a record. We'll see.
No, it's definitely going to be a record-setting year. Well, we appreciate you both. You both have proven that financial education can be inspiring, relating, and culturally relevant. Thank you so much for stopping during Business Month, Small Business Month in August. We are looking forward to this conference. We are looking forward to making sure that we are promoting and making sure that people know about the conference. And of course, it's in Atlanta, so we'll be there representing. So thank you so much for stopping by. Tell the people where they can follow you personally, social media wise.
Yeah, you can follow us everywhere on Earn Your Leisure, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. The brand is there, the brand is strong. And thank you for having us. We appreciate you being there last year, and we're looking forward to seeing you this year. Hopefully, we'll run into each other, take some pictures, flick it up, and get some behind the scenes stuff.
Absolutely. That's what we're coming for.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you so much, Rashad. We appreciate you.